I recently got a steady supply of chicken manure. The problem is it is uncomposted and I want this for my worms. So then it cannot be fed to the worms because one, it is rich in nitrogen, and if it's not composted, that nitrogen is going to make the bedding hot and the worms are going to die from the heat. Plus, too much nitrogen is not good for the worms. So, what do I do with this? We live in a very wet environment, which means that I cannot put this outdoors to compost it, because if I do, that moist environment is rich with multiple species of composting worms and slugs and other pests. Now, we don't want this in our castings that we're going to be selling to our clients, and we don't want to introduce different species of worms to our worm bin that we're selling to our clients either. So then, how can we control this chicken manure? How can we compost it without getting these pests in there? So for now, I've come up with a temporary solution. So this is what I'm doing. I got a small storage area, and so far there are some things in here, but I can shuffle things around. So the idea I have is one, to create shelves and to raise the first shelf, the lowest shelf off the ground, so that if there are snails and slugs, well, I don't expect them to be in here because in here is dry, as you can see. What moisture you see is because I washed off the boards to ensure that there is no pest on them before I put them in here. So it is fairly dry in here. I'm going to elevate it off the ground because it do get cold, and I don't want it directly on the concrete to freeze because I want the process to continue over the winter. So I'm going to be putting shelves here. I'm going to be stocking totes on top of each other, on each shelf, that is, not on each other. And as I do that, I'm going to have a system where I have one set of totes with both carbon and the chicken manure, and I'm going to be hot composting it for 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks. Once it has completed the hot cycle, then it can be fed to the worms. So that is what I have in mind. I'm going to be putting the shelves here, and each of them is going to be dated as to when the process was started and when it is ready for the worms, so that I don't accidentally give the worms the chicken manure that has not been composted yet. Now, two things. The person who I got the chicken manure from raised the chicken outdoors, and yes, they have a little chicken coop that the chickens go into, but I am not sure what process the chicken manure goes through. Is it on the ground where it can be exposed to different species of worms and other pests? So far, I haven't seen any worms or any slugs in there, but you never know, a cocoon might be in there, or a few snail eggs might be in there. Not snails, but slug eggs could be in there. So one, for each tote there will be a small amount of the chicken manure. And so what I'm doing is two things. First, I'm running it through, pouring hot water on it, let it sit until it cools, and then I'm going to be rinsing this off, straining it off, and I'm going to be using the water in the garden, and then I'm going to repeat the process just to ensure that anything that might escape, because you know how it is with hot composting, the things that are in the middle will get hot, but anything on the outside will stay warm but not hot enough to kill off any pathogens. Now when you're composting, you're supposed to take the outer layer and put it in the middle, and the middle layer to the outer layer every time that you turn your compost. So sometimes though, there's no guarantee that you're going to get everything in the middle going through the hot composting process. For that reason, I'm running it through the hot water twice, then I compost it. That way I'm certain that everything gets a bit of that heat to kill off any pest or pathogens that might be in here. Would you like to see the result of what happens with this composting method that I am trying? If so, why not subscribe to my channel or follow me on Facebook? You can also join our free community, Worms and Garden Unite. I will leave the link in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have yourself a wonderful day. Yeah, man, time for grow.